Hello, and we are glad to have you join us for another round of RPL F2. It is round number 4 for Formula 2 this time. Yesterday was Tier 2. They were in Japan. Today is F2. We are in Italy. And now it is time to get underway for the 4th round of the season. First up, it's qualifying to see who will start on the pole for the feature race and then get their self-reversed for the sprint race as well. Let's decide the starting order now. I'm your commentator, RyanOcon31. Good to have you join us. Let us know if you are rooting for any drivers today in the chat. Either way, counting down, now less than 10 seconds. By the way, just to recap you, from the previous F2 rounds, Scythers won the last two F2 races. Sorry, not the last two F1 rounds. Sorry, the last 3 F2 rounds. Excuse me there. Scythers won the last 2 races in F2, a feature race and a sprint race. And then before that, 4 different winners in the first 4 races, 2 different rounds, 2 sprints, 2 features. Here we go. Time to focus on the drivers and see who can get the best out of their qualifying lap. Track filled with a ton of straights, that's for sure here in Monza. The Chiller's already called it quits in his lap, either retiring by crashing or wanting to start at the back of the grid for both races. Keep in mind, it will affect drivers for both races, but as we go through Sector 1, Griffiths ends up having the fastest first sector, it seems like, and is out in front, but he invalidates, so commentator's curse right there coming into effect. Blue Goggy, FBL, all retiring from the session, having issues in the Lesmos. But as we come to the sector split, it is Bourbon Boy who is at the top of the board. Now, give it to Scyther. Since we speak of Scyther, Scyther has raced 4 of the 4 F2 races that he's done, and that has been available, and in all 4 of them, he's been on the podium in all 4. Only driver to have more than 2 podiums in F2 RPL, and he's going to sit on the pole for F2 RPL as well in Monza. Starting it off quite well is Scyther in the Searles. So now it's time to go through your starting order. Scyther asking, how is he on pole? Well, that is a good question because there are 3 drivers who are quite close to Scyther. Quite close grid at the front of the field. It will be fun to watch. Scyther on pole in the Searles. The Trident of Stenner will be alongside him on the grid. Then row 2 is Bourbon Boy and Valkyrie F1. Running out the top 5 is Suji, C1, Beatnik, Florian, Choco, Jim Bob, and Tadpole round out your top 10. Outside the top 10, adds Leon Miner, Hippu, Owen, DeChiller, Goggy, FBL, Griffiths, and Trat Racer. So before we get underway, I believe we have the little break period, where we wait 2 or 3 minutes to ready up. So with that being said, let's go over the driver standings and the constructor standings in the meantime. Scyther leads the driver standings over Mythic by 27 points. Is that the amount? I think that is. Yeah, 27. Valkyrie F1, 3rd in the championship standings in the high tech. 1 point behind Mythic. That battle for 2nd, but in comparison to the championship lead, it is 28 points. Tadpole, 33 points behind in the Campos. That's your top 4 in the championship. Everyone else behind that is anywhere from 30 points or lower. Here we go. 5 red lights. And the action is underway for RPL F2 once again. It is go, 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 and off the line we go. On the run down to turn 1, Tadpole with a pretty good start, I must say. leading the Grand Prix already. Heavy braking for turn 1. Got to get the braking right. Contact being made with a couple of cars throughout the field. Now it's side-by-side action through the rest of the field as they exit turn 2 and come up to turn 3. They try to jockey out for position. You have the battle for second place now. It will be wheel-to-wheel entering the second chicane with Choco and Florian. The question now becomes, what happened with Scyther at the start? Down 8 places. Did he get a bad start? And off the road goes Choco. And now, Sudgy battling for position with second place man Florian. Leon Miner has been disqualified already at the start of this Grand Prix. So now, Sudgy goes ahead for second place. And there you have it. Leon Miner retired with the disqualified car. On the side of the road, Track Racer off as well, due to contact, I believe. Now, side by side, it is second place once again for the third time on this opening lap. Sudgy and Florian side by side once again. It will be Florian getting ahead this time. And behind that, Valkyrie F1, big battle here, side by side, 2 rows deep between the cars. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th now, all trying to find their way up the field and see who's going to have a chance for this sprint race victory. Or potentially a podium if they don't see a victory in themselves. Valkyrie F1 getting ahead for the time being, and there's cars spinning around. That is Stenner, Jim Bob, and maybe a couple others got foaming damage, but for the time being, second place in this race. Heavy braking at turn 1. Florian gonna get ahead. Gonna push Sudgy out just a little bit. Oh, contact behind. I think a couple positions trading. Oh, still green flags though. So the battling continues once again. Big Train, 4th place on back. And here we go. Oh, there's contact! A bunch of cars off! And that's damage for Griffiths. I think Beatnik lost a place in the process, and definitely losing places from all that was... I'm trying to figure out who that was. Cannot figure out who that was. But a very costly mistake, a very costly chance for a top 5 in this race for a lot of guys from that contact. So Beatnik's still battling back. He's got Scyther on the back of him now. Scyther, does he choose to make a move at Ascari? Nope, he's going to wait a little bit longer. A smart choice and a patient choice for Scyther, realizing his worth right here. Oh, going off the track though, Scyther does. So DRS will be enabled next time by giving 4th on back more of a chance to fight it out. How about a fight between Owen and Blugagi? Blugagi has not got points yet in this F2 season, but you know he's going to fight for it. Owen off the track for just a moment. Blugagi up to the top 10. And in front of that, Ads also on the back of Kipu in the Red Bull livery car right here. Ducking out before turn 1. Late braking. Gonna get the move done. And he is ahead. Cars going off the track at the back of the field. That is the Red Bull livery car. Blugagi's off. And he has made contact with the barrier, which has brought out the virtual safety car. I think that was contact with Owen. I could be wrong. But that does hinder his chance for points, which we were just talking about a moment ago. It looks like in the RPL F2 chat, Kipu is wondering what happened there. Everyone here races like it is the final lap, and as a 5-second penalty given to Track Racer. Bad restart there for Ads. Was not too focused, it looked like, on the virtual safety car, and this is going to cause a ton of action. 3 wide and now 4 cars under a blanket right here. He knows he has to back off or else he could potentially cause a collision. And to Chiller, a penalty right behind that, trying to avoid a little stack up with the cars. Owen got a place. Owen, I think, is going to have to give back the place if he overtook under yellow flags. Contact made. Now, how about some 3 wide heading into the final corner? More contact once again at Parabolica. These guys fighting it out. It was originally 4 cars under a blanket. How about 5 cars, I think? 6 cars? Yeah, 6 cars right here. All under a blanket. DRS, this is intense racing through a chance for points. Late braking once again. I think that's almost off the road, and it is off the road, and it is contact. Now 3 of them off the road. Owen was one of them, I think. He is one of them. Ads was one of them. Kipu was one of them. So a bunch of cars trying to fight their worth for points positions, and it's all coming at the cost of some points positions. 8th place right there was the fight. And now 8th place is Bourbon Boy. And Beatnik trying to fight this back. In front of that, Griffith is closer to Valkyrie F1. The big battle for the podium right here. And Griffith does go ahead. So there you have it. Let's see the positions gained from the start of this race. So 14 positions gained from Griffith starting at the back of the field. Maybe he chose to start at the back of the field and said, you know what, might be the right strategy. I don't know if he crashed out or chose to start at the back after maybe a mistake on his lap. No, that's right, he was invalidated his lap. So being at the back of the field was definitely the better choice for him. Or, I mean, not the choice, but the better option. Saved him a little bit of pain from maybe starting at the front of the field with all this action so far. Speaking of action, he's going to give us some action by gaining on Suji C1, who's taken over that podium spot from the start of the race. He has also gained a couple of spots. He's gained 3 spots since the start of this race. Behind that, Bourbon Boy, fighting with the Chiller for 8th place. That is the final points position in this race. So let's have them fight it out and see what happens. The Chiller does have a penalty at the expense of that, so we'll watch out for that. However, in front of that, contact made. Suji C1 having contact with Griffiths and Blue Goggy, going a lap down in this race. So, a bad day for Goggy goes to worse, but you know what, the good part for him is the feature race is still on, and he has a chance for more points. Or more chances for 8 points, I should say, because he does not have a point in the season. So GC1 now battling with Griffiths. Griffiths, how about making this 15 places on the grid? Sliding sideways, going off the road, touching some gravel. But now Suji C1 gets back in front. The good part is, Griffiths will have DRS now, all the way down to turn 1. He's within a second here. And that might be his only hope to get back in front at this rate, because he's also getting challenged from the car behind. That's Valkyrie F1. Yellow flags, that is Blue Goggy out of this race, and it's brought out the safety car. So, Blue Goggy once again retiring from the race. It is not good for Goggy. We have some cars pitting. Jachiller, Bourbon Boy, Jachiller getting another penalty in this race. He already had one previously. That was a 3-second. Jachiller gets a 5-second for speeding in the pit lane. So, tires changing for these drivers. How about some soft tires for Jachiller? And Bourbon Boy as well? Yep. So there you have it. Safety car now out. Kipu is not happy with a couple of drivers on the grid. He says zero awareness in the F2 drivers chat. Making his feelings very aware to the rest of the drivers with how much chaos we've seen at the start of the grid. So, gets the action calmed down just a little bit at the front of the field and the back of the field. Gives some of these guys who really didn't have a chance for points to now put themselves in the fight. While this is going on, let's go over the constructor standings, which we did not get a chance to do so at the start of this. So Trident lead the standings over Searles by 7 points. I want to take a look here, and I don't know if that was lag between Suji and Griffiths there. I want to take a look at some of the current runners. Florian in a Searles. Scyther up there, he's in a Searles. Suji's in a Trident. Big things to focus on in the sprint race for the Constructors title. With where these guys are running right now. 7 points between the top two. Then it's a... I always have said it this weekend so far. Big battle. It is a big battle, actually. 3rd through 9th are covered within 13 points. And if this is a stat to put out there, that will amaze you, then I don't know what is. Looking at all the teams so far in this F2 season for RPL that have got a podium, 9 of the 10 teams have got a podium. You wanna know which one hasn't? Carlin. They're 4th in the championship, 31 points back from the lead. They're 4 points back from Dams in 3rd place in the table right now. So, if you're looking for a team that has had consistency to start the season, but no podiums from it, Carlin is one that you might want to look out for. No Carlin drivers up in the top 8 as we stand. Taking me a little bit to get used to the F2 teams, I must say, because some of these guys look similar with their liveries. Not only do some of them look similar, but the fact is that you have some Red Bull Junior liveries in there. You have some Alpine Academy liveries in there. So, very big things to look out for when it comes to liveries and who is racing what. Speaking of things, I want to mention a couple more stats as we're sitting under the safety car for likely another lap. So far this season, with 6 races done, 3 rounds done, there are a total of 5 drivers who have more than 1 podium to start off the season. Include the following drivers. Blonde is one of the drivers. Tadpole is one of the drivers. Tadpole is leading. He has a chance to get himself up on the podium once again. Valkyrie F1. Valkyrie F1 sits in the top 5, so another chance for another podium to add on to her name. And I did make a mistake yesterday in the F2, the Tier 2 race. Valkyrie F1 is a she. I kept saying he. You know, you're never 100% nowadays, so I'm glad I got the clarification right there. Scyther, 4 podiums in the season. Scyther fell back to 9th at the start, just outside the points. For F2, remember, the top 8 get points in the sprint race, so Scyther has recovered to 6th. I do think the fact that the safety car has come out has sort of hurt his chance for a 5th podium in a row, but you know what? He's probably not too worried about it because he has a comfortable championship lead and there are more points on offer for the feature race, which he did get pole for. So that'll be something to look out for. And Mythic with 2 podiums in the season. So that'll be something to look out forward to. Yeah, 9 different teams on podium. Carlin is not one of them. Prima, High Tech, Trident, Dams, and Cherouz, all the different winners so far this season in F2. Campos trying to add their name to it with Tadpole currently leading the Grand Prix, as the safety car could potentially be in this lap. Tune in later today as well for some F1 racing for RPL. It is Tier 1. 3 Eastern. I think Owen is streaming that, so tune in. I don't think it'll be a late call. Luckily, we get to go another lap, and it'll be a 2-to-go restart once we do have the safety car come in at the end of this lap now. Beatnik is saying somehow the wing damage has made his car better. Well, usually that does not happen, but if you have a setup that I feel like is not in your favor, then it may help you just a little bit with the turning. Beatnik currently running in the points, 7th on the board. One of 12 drivers who have stayed out. 13th on back. They realized they have nothing to lose. They're not in the points right now. They know that, you know, it's RPL, so a bit of chaos will happen, especially with a late race safety car and a restart. So why not gamble outside the points and get yourself a chance for points if you're one of these drivers? And 5 of those guys did do that. So the safety car is in at the end of this lap, and it will be a 2 to go sprint to the checkered flag. Time to look out to see if Tadpole can get Campos their first win of the season. They would become the 6th different team to win in the F2 season so far. It would be 7 races. This is our 4th different round of the season. Let's figure it out. He's got 2 laps to do so. But first, he's got to get a good restart in order to do that. Waiting on the perfect time to go. And it looked like for a moment he was foot to the floor. Is he foot to the floor? Yes, foot to the floor. Restart underway. Safety car in the pit lane. 2-lap shootout to decide who's going to be victorious for the sprint and maybe a part of that podium, because that battle is heating up. Here we go for the lead. Slipstream engaged a little bit. Here we go. Does he make a move in the braking zone? No, he thinks better of it. He almost got a hit from the back there, was Florian. Battle for 5th place right now. Valkyrie F1 getting challenged from Scyther. Kipu with a penalty. Contact in the back of the field. That's going off the road. That looks like it's Bourbon Boy? Maybe I'm wrong. However, the battle still continues. 5th place Valkyrie F1. Wheel to wheel with Scyther. But for the lead, once again, it is heating up. 2 tenths now. Florian is just reeling in Tadpole. Is it a matter of time? Can Shrews go 3 in a row? Oh, but Suji's got a chance now. You saw in the first Lesmo, Florian went just a little bit wide. Now a little bit of a slide. It's going to cost him some time from that lead. And it's going to give Tadpole more of a confident chance to win this race. Yellow flags. That is Choco out of this race. Florian staying ahead right there. Defending from Suji and Griffiths. As they continue to battle for 2nd place, this battle for the podium could still heat up. Bourbon Boy still has a chance for points, back in 11th place with Kipu with a penalty. More yellow flags the back of the field. And I do say with a chance for points, there still is battling up in front of that for 8th place, which is crucial to look out for. Chaco says he was taken out, but 1 lap to go now. This is it. Jim Bob, he is out now, so that's 4 retirements in the sprint race. Florian just closing in, but he's also getting the challenge from behind. He's hit the leader. Florian is sideways and maybe has a bit of front wing damage with that. That potentially causes his chance for the win. And wide went Scyther there. His chance for a podium is potentially over. It is crippling away. Suggy C1 as well, right on the back of Florian. Battling this out. The Trident, the Cheroos. But it is all happening behind Tadpole, who's trying to win his first race of the F2 season. More yellow flags the back of the field. That is Kipu and Trat Racer. So, not the day they would have wanted. But, like I mentioned earlier regarding Scyther and Blugagi, you still have the sprint race, or sorry, the feature race up next. Florian is closing just a little bit, but is it too little too late? He could force Tadpole in a mistake right here. Look at this, just closing a little bit. 3 tenths now of that gap between 1st and 2nd. The battle is for the podium as well. Suggy F1, or Suggy C1. And Griffiths, yellow flags. That is FPL, crashed out of the race. Oh, there's a crash for the podium. Valkyrie F1 is going to come through and take it. But the battle is now for the win. It's getting close once again. Tadpole is going to hang on and get Campus their first victory. It's going to be the sprint race victory for Tadpole as well. He takes the checkered flag by 59 thousandths. That was close at the end there. Not enough for Florian. He closed in, but not enough for the victory in the sprint race. And Valkyrie F1 takes it for the podium once again. That's a 3rd podium under the season. He watched his 2 rivals in front crash out and took advantage. How about that? I think just maybe trying the switchback there was the car on the outside and the left side at the braking zone. Just misjudgment for that podium. On top of the podium is the British driver of Tadpole. Man, it was close to the end with Tadpole. Tadpole was getting the challenge there at the final corner of Parabolica. We're lucky we switched into that, or else you guys wouldn't have seen how close it was. More traction off that final corner. And maybe just a little more traction, and it wouldn't have been Tadpole's race. Florian gave him quite the fight. I said he was closing in, but it was just too little, too late, not enough. And the victory goes to Tadpole Campos. Ends up being the 6th different team to take victory in RPL F2 this season. Florian, Valkyrie F1, Scyther, Beatnik round out your top 5. Scyther, in the 5 races he's done this season, has finished all 5 in the top 4. Owen, your last points runner as well. Carl and I spoke about their consistency with Bourbon Boy. How about Bourbon Boy as well? I know he was a little helped with more points positions due to the crash in the final lap and the final corner, but you know, with that being said, he was the highest guy on freshest tires there who pitted on that last restart. Took advantage of that pretty well, I must say. And anytime you can take advantage of your competitors, it is a good day. He turned a bad day into a better one. Speaking of turning a bad day into a better one, how about Scyther, who was down to 9th at the grid at one point in that sprint race? Scyther ended up recovering to 4th there. I know he went off the track in the final lap, and yes, maybe a little bit of help from the crash in front, but, you know, definitely on one of the sprints that he couldn't capitalize on, he ended up doing what he could there for sure. Minimize the damage, they always say, you know? I think that's more of the saying right there. 10 viewers, let us know who you're rooting for this feature race. We are just waiting for the drivers and the time to go. Seven races, three full rounds. That'll be a 4th full round with lights out, and away we go once again. Can we get a 7th different winner for RPL 2 this season? As they head to turn 1, different tire choices you could see, but Scyther already in the lead and already keeping the lead, you could see there. Much better start this time from him. Stenner as well, not close enough, and he was getting battled into turn 2, but covered that off. Beatnik as well, Valkyrie F1, little battle between the second highest medium runners right here, all following one another. Toe-to-toe right there as we head to turn 4. Late braking and heavy braking, the second chicane. Side by side once again, Choco and Beatnik. Battle between them. Choco gets the better of him, but Beatnik's got a card on the inside. That's Florian, who finished 2nd there in the sprint race. You saw the traction he got. He's got a good start already. Much battling and a much cleaner start, though, compared to the last time in the sprint race. And everyone keeping it clean so far. Battling side by side, getting the moves done cleanly. Choco and Florian as well, once again. Florian gaining so many spots, I think. Where did he start? He started 7th. He didn't gain too many spots, but he definitely took advantage of the spots he's gained so far. And what this does with him gaining spots creates a big battle behind. Look at this, 6th, 7th place, 8th place as well. Tadpole, your sprint race winner, trying to find his way through the field. Oh, going wide there was Tadpole, and you can see the loss of traction. Off the road he goes, has to re-enter. He's going to re-enter outside the points right here. Oh, contact with Owen right there. For 10th place, up in front of that, Beatnik and Choco as well. Just see the view, the drivers ducking it out, battling all into turn 1. Heavy braking, trying to find their pinpoint. Oh, the both Red Bull livery cars make contact with one another. That is Owen and Ads. Still contact that was. Now turn 3, I think they figured themselves out right there. Behind that they haven't. Leon Miner now battling for points. Oh, off the road almost. Oh, spin in front. That is Valkyrie F1, who finished on the podium in the sprint race. Spinning round and going outside the points and now to plumb last. Battle behind. Look at this. All for outside the points. Jim Bob on back. Kipu on back. I think that actually is 13th through 18th. Blue Goggy as well, trying to find his way back up the grid. The Chiller as well, battling with Goggy. Griffiths and Kipu as well. How about in front of that? I think this is out of Scary, Choco and Beatnik, or Choco and Florian. Choco getting ahead of staying ahead of Beatnik, and Choco losing the place to Florian. Excuse me, right there. Jim Bob Tadpole right here. Or sorry, Jim Bob and Sudgy C1. Excuse me. Oh my goodness. So much battling, you kind of can't keep up. Jim Bob loses another place right there and could lose more. Bourbon Boy, fastest lap here on the second lap of the race. Now Scyther is getting challenged from the race lead, or for the race lead from Stenner. Stenner cannot go ahead. Scyther defends it. Stenner on those medium tires looking for traction out of turn 2. He does have the traction. Now he's in the slipstream. Turn 4. At the chicane. Inside. Can't get it done. Ooh, rear lock right there from Stenner. Choco as well. Once again, he has been in a ton of battles so far today. Amazing to see. This is all for 4th place. Leon Miner with the first penalty of this F2 feature race. Remember, they will have to make a pit stop if you're not familiar with F2. So, big thing to focus on with the tire difference with softs and mediums right here with the drivers. Oh, 5-second penalty for Leon Miner, corner cutting. He gained a place right there. That's at the very back of the field for Leon Miner. Behind that, Owen also trying to find himself up the grid. Trying to gain some places. He has gained 5 places since the start of the race. Let's go on the places gained from the drivers for just a lap here. Look at this. 5 places for Owen, 4 for Ads, and now make that 1 for Stenner. How about the race lead right here? Once again, heating up. Stenner to the inside. Gets the move done. Ahead. Before turn 2 as well. Got the traction beautifully there. Three spots for Florian, 3 spots for Choco, 6 spots for Trat Racer. Losing spots obviously all due to spins, I think, with Kipu, Valkyrie, and Blue Goggy down to plumb last right there. Leon Miner also has lost 4 spots as well. Griffiths in a battle now with Tadpole. Tadpole's off the road, and Owen has got a penalty for corner cutting. I think this is due to avoiding some of the contact from this battling as it's heating up once again. Could potentially be the case. I did not fully see it, but Owen is wide, and now this gives the opportunity to Griffiths to make challenge for 9th place. He gets through. Now, a lot of guys ready to take this chance at passing Owen right here behind that. Oh, off the road. That is Tadpole. Tadpole, who won the sprint race, having a bit of trouble finding his way up the grid. Owen with a 2nd penalty. Owen looks like he's having his fair share of battles and penalties today so far. However, once again, Scyther and Stenner. Scyther pulls to the right side for this race lead. Who's going to be last of the late breakers? It looks to be Scyther this time. Scyther does get ahead, and it seems like whoever gets ahead into turn 2 seems to just traction their way out ahead of the guy in 2nd place and pulls a big gap heading into turn 3 right here. You can see it's happened both times now as they battled wheel to wheel. 6th place. Actually, 5th place if you look at Choco there. 6th place there was a position swap, but it is Beatnik getting ahead of Ads, and now Beatnik challenging once again. And everyone kind of calming down right here. I know there's still a lot of battling, but not too many spins. I will say a very clean feature race to start off. I'm really happy to see that. considering some of the complaints from some of the drivers with the sprint race, much better in this feature race so far. You have your typical DRS train at the front of the field with the top 3 breaking away. Then you have 5th place, which at some point with the strategy could turn into the battle for the podium. 3 cars under a blanket. Now, wheel to wheel. Maybe 3 wide right here. We're looking at 3 wide for just a moment. And Kipu does pick up the 3rd different driver to have a penalty in this feature race. So as they continue to battle, we switch over to the race lead, because Stenner's taking it back for the 3rd time in the last 3 laps. And this time he's comfortably ahead before turn 1. I think a little bit of contact from Scyther there. And I think for the first time, Scyther's got the traction there out of turn 2 to have a chance in a turn 3 right here once again. But I don't think it's close enough for an overtake to be made. And Ads and Beatnik as well. This battle has just continued. Ads, Beatnik, Choco. How about Sudgy C1 as well? In this battle. Bunch of battling for 5th place, but Ads is ahead for the time being. Close quarter racing throughout the field in RPL. It's what you love to see. Especially when these guys are able to keep it clean, and it looks like a lot of clean racing for 5th place. 4th different driver to pick up a penalty. That is Jim Bob. 3-second time penalty, but here we go. Into a Scary. Scyther's going to wait for it. And yellow flags. That is Sudgy C1. Owen, I think, as well is losing places. But Sudgy C1 is the one who has been spun around. 9th place. Big battle right here. Owen on the back of Trat Racer. Gets him sideways with a bit of contact. And Trat Racer now becomes the 5th different driver to pick up a penalty. And that battling between them guys for 5th place has kind of been spread out a little bit. As you saw the contact and what that did. How about the 5th different lap with this? Scyther and Stenner. Scyther going ahead now. Scyther comfortably ahead this time. Jim Bob another penalty. Pitting is Trat Racer. So, that has figured itself out in that area. Jim Bob, a retirement. Is this the pit lane? I think it is. It looks like it is. But, the race lead. Stenner trying to challenge us back into turn 4. Backs off, thinks better of it. Beatnik as well, getting challenged from Griffiths. 3 cars under a blanket before their pit stops are being made. 2 guys in the mediums and Ads on the softs right here. At the front of the field, it is 2 guys on softs and 1 on mediums. So kind of reversed of that. Pitting right there was Florian and Suggy C1. I know it's a different pronunciation each time from me, but I promise you I will learn for future races the pronunciation. But Valkyrie F1 and Leon Miner are getting into some heated contact here for 13th place. Leon Miner getting the better of Valkyrie F1, but Valkyrie F1 going to come back at it, looks like. In front of that, though, more wheel-to-wheel action all throughout the field. Gotta love it, because these guys have kept it quite clean so far. Any of the top 3 pitting? It is Bourbon Boy going to try for the undercut. Man, he gets it in just right on the pit limiter. And here we go. Ducking out. Stenner takes the lead again before turn 1. Comfortably ahead. As we've said many times in the last couple of laps, Tadpole gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And it looks like everybody, whether you're inside the points or barely outside the points in that area, is pitting to get their required pit stop out of the way already. And the lead once again heating up. When do Scyther, when do Stenner both pit? That will be the question. You can see that front 3, they really pulled away. This is the battle for the win, and it will be the battle for all the places on the podium. You see right there, Scyther backing off to not overtake Stenner and avoid causing any unnecessary collision or overtake into Ascari. Just wait on the right moment. Whoa, a slide there from Scyther in the dirty air of Stenner. And a position swap once again adds Griffiths. Again, I'd assume these guys are coming in this time by for their required pit stops. Undercut, overcut. Well, we'll find out if any of them do try the overcut. The front two are in. No, actually, Scyther was getting the slipstream right there and thinking of pitting, but big crucial moment for Stenner with the 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That definitely puts his chance for the win over. Adds 5-second penalty as well. Choco 5-second penalty as well. These guys cannot seem to get it slowed down in time for the pit lane. As I was saying, Scyther in that slipstream though, he picked up the slipstream crucially right there. And yeah, maybe it's going to be between him and what is it? Not Stenner anymore for the victory. Actually, this changes everything. A virtual safety car. The Chiller has crashed out of the session. That is at a Scary? Yes. Tons of front wing laying on the racetrack. Lying on the racetrack. And his hopes for points are definitely over. Yeah, Titan asks a really good question right now. How many people are going to get disqualified for track limits right here? I don't know about disqualified being the right word, but how many people are going to change places after the checkered flag? With places. 8 of 17 drivers in this race still with penalties. And Scyther, this is perfect timing. I mean, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Scyther, right here, the VSC is going to end, and he's going to be able to pit, and he's going to get really, I would say, the overcut done perfectly on his rivals that he was battling for the race lead. Perfect. DRS able to get it slowed down. And that was gonna be Bourbon Boy who's gonna be battling him. I'm not sure, but Stenner has that penalty, so that kind of takes his chance out for the victory. Now with Griffith staying out and potentially other guys behind thinking of staying out, are they banking on a safety car? We just saw a virtual safety car out for the Chiller crashing out. Are these guys banking on that? And is that their only hope for points? Valkyrie F1 pitting as well. Scyther, let's focus on where he's coming out. Overcut right here on his rivals. Stenner's ahead by a decent margin. And now it's Bourbon Boy, who could be ahead of Scyther right here. And Bourbon Boy is ahead of Scyther. But Scyther having to warm up the tires. Losing a bit of traction at turn 2 because of that. And now going to fight this out to at least stay within 5 seconds of Stenner. I said it puts him out of it, but you know what? If you have a good undercut and you have a good outlap, that's exactly what it does to you. He pulled away a ton. I think that VSC helped a little bit because of the time he minimized with the other drivers being at a little slower pace at the entrance to the pit lane. So maybe he would have been barely in DRS right now of Bourbon Boy. And that's a penalty for Scyther. That will change the running order crucially with Stenner, who now doesn't have to worry too much. But he still has to worry about Bourbon Boy. Griffiths is going to come in this time. Don't speed. He didn't speed. We've seen 4, 5 speeding penalties, I think, from the drivers so far. They gave Trat Racer a speeding penalty. Okay, he was at 37. Okay, or wasn't at 37. Okay, I thought he was right at the limit and got a penalty, but I don't think he was. So, never mind to that. Stenner and Blue Goggy now take over part of the podium places right here. Blue Goggy extending his run. FBL with a penalty as well. Yeah, Blue Goggy extending his run, maybe hoping for some points right here. I think this is a smart move if you're Blue Goggy. I know I've not had Blue Goggy's name out of my mouth in the last hour, but I think this is the harsh reality though for Goggy. He's not one of the faster drivers. This is his chance for points. Extend, hope for a safety car, hope for your rivals to kind of get into it. And some of them have, but not all of them have. Bourbon Boy off the track. He doesn't have a penalty. That allows Scyther to go through. So, maybe if you are Stenner, you are feeling a bit more comfortable right now. Choco with a penalty. So, at this rate, how many drivers have penalties? Well, let's count it up for you. Let's show you the penalties, in fact. Look at this. Some from speeding, some from track limits, some from ignoring yellow flags or corner cutting, and gaining places under yellow flags. But that is a total of 11 of 17 drivers with corner cutting penalties. All but 6 drivers without a penalty. And Owen slowing, yellow flags from him. What has happened with Owen, your race leader right now, who has gone from a 5-second gap in the lead to about nearly DRS from second place with Stenner. And battles behind that. Blue Doggy, Bourbon Boy, Scyther. Scyther going ahead. Bourbon Boy now to challenge once again. Bourbon Boy is the one trying to challenge Scyther for this podium and potentially gaining on Stenner and catching him for what could be the race victory, because Scyther has that penalty. The gap between him and Stenner will focus on is 2 seconds right here. And the gap between him and Bourbon Boy is 5 seconds. Look at this. Off the road is Owen. Owen is front wing damage and now making contact with Stenner. Slight bit more contact and touching. Touching once again. But however, that's on the gearbox. Touching more. And Owen knows his chances are maybe over for podium, unless he pits and hopes for a safety car. Off the road was Blue Goggy. So I think his hope for a safety car is just about over. Same with Owen. Let's focus on this gap for the lead. Stenner and Owen. Owen off the road. 5-second penalty for corner cutting. I don't know what that was. Yeah. Weaving the wheels, I'll call it. Sliding once again. Surely he's got a pit. He goes in the pit wall. He's out of this race. And that will not bring out a safety car because it is too late in this race to bring out one. However, that does move guys up a couple of places who were looking to do just that. FBL as well. The second retirement in the last 30 seconds. He's out. Is that a retirement on track? I think that is. I don't think you're supposed to retire on track. So, that is a big no-no in a lot of leagues. And, yeah. It looked like his car was still moving. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Couldn't really see for a moment if it was moving or not. But like I said, this battle for the leaders is a big focus. Look at the penalties right now. 5 seconds for Stenner, 3 seconds for Scyther. So that gap to decide their positions is pretty much 2 seconds, which they're both about just within that barrier. As the tires wear for Stenner, the battle that he's got to focus on now becomes Bourbon Boy, who's 6 seconds back, and off the road, Kippu and Suggy, who's had a collision at turn 4. Blue Goggy losing more places now. Ads that was right there. Griffiths as well. Challenging Goggy once again. Is he going to back off for DRS? Well, he thought about it, but it was Blue Goggy backing off for DRS, and maybe he's coming into the pits this time. He has stayed out the longest of anybody, and no, he's not coming into the pits. I do not understand why. He's the only one yet to pit in this race. Why would you go the full distance without pitting? You can't in a feature race. Griffiths! Late braking, heavy braking! Down the inside, gets the move done for 5th place in this race. And by the way, that is still crucial for this race because if something happens with the top 2 drivers, that is right now Griffith's podium because Florian has a penalty right in front. So we'll focus on everyone in front of Griffiths because 3/10 Bourbon Boy is gained on the front 2. Right now, this gets interesting, see? This would be Scyther winning as of right now. It definitely feels like Scyther has not missed a beat Oh, and Choco off into the gravel. Taps the barrier. And now comes back out on track. Outside of the points. Speaking of outside the points, this is going to be Bulgogi in just about a moment here. If he does not pit, he'll be disqualified. And if he does pit, he'll be outside the points. So, really, it's a lose-lose for Bulgogi. And what? The game has just disqualified Scyther as a glitch for not using the correct tire compounds or not changing compounds as a glitch. That has ultimately ruined his chance to get victory today. Now the battle's for the lead on penalties. Stenner with a 5-second lead over Boardman Boy has the 5-second penalty for speeding at the expense of that. What has just happened? Bulgogi pits, gets a 5-second in the pit lane as well at the expense of that. Wow. Scyther has said he's just got disqualified for not changing tires when he did. This will be the first time that Scyther does not see the flag and does not see the top 4. And Owen says it was because he came in under VSC. However, Scyther came in just as it was ending. You have it on stream exactly on the onboard when he came in, but here we come. Final corner, Stenner. Big battle with Boardman Boy. Big battle with Scyther. Stenner with the 5-second penalty wins the race on track. Waiting for Boardman Boy to come across the line. It will now mean that Stenner wins the race on track and on penalties. The 5-second penalty didn't mean anything for him. All he had to do was drive great, hold on, and he did just that to win the feature race here at Monza. Completing the podium is Griffiths. And look at this top 3, okay? More battling behind that. Trot Racer as well, 2 tenths back. Choco picking up the last points position. Depending on penalties right now. Bulgogi is out. Get the last point spot. Look at this podium, okay? Boardman Boy gets Carlin onto the podium to make it 10 teams in the 8 races, 4 rounds to have. All teams on the podium in these 4 rounds, 8 races to start the season. So there you have it. Scyther asking for his position back, asking for him to be reinstated. However, there were penalties at the expense of that. Scyther had a 3-second for corner cutting. Stenner had the 5-second for speeding in the pit lane. Boardman Boy ended up having no penalties as well. And he was just closing in on Stenner. So Titan mentioned previous instance where it did not get reinstated, by the way. So just that for the record. So here are your total points from everybody. Tadpole winning the sprint race. How about this? A completely different top 3 in both the sprint race and the feature race. Let's go through the order. From 18th on the grid, Griffiths gets a podium in the feature race and fastest lap as well. Here are your results at the end of that. But how about that? What a race there for RPL F2 once again. I must say I am impressed with how these guys kept it quite clean. I know some drivers are frustrated with Bulgogi as one of the guys who ruined that battle. You know, I know it becomes a talking point when you are not on the same strategy and you are fighting those battles. The question becomes from drivers alike: is he entitled to fight all that? Is he entitled to fight that? Or should he give the spot up knowing he has to pit? He is trying to hold on for a safety car, but if you ruin those battles, Surely does frustrate some drivers at the end of the day. Not saying it's deserved or not. But that will do it for RPL F2. Let's go over just a couple of things with that. I want to say Scyther holds on to the championship lead regardless. I think it's correct that he does. Yeah, he does. So, I mean, because of where he finished in the sprint race, the pole position, he holds on to the championship lead. Nothing changes there. But drivers such as Jim Bob, Gagi, no points in the season. I don't think Jim Bob scored points in that. I could be wrong. I didn't see him in the points. Yeah, I'm having a tough time remembering. My brain is just going down the drain right now, I must say. But, yeah, so 7 different winners, I think. Is that correct? Yeah, I think it is. 7 different winners to start off the 8 races in the 4 rounds so far of RPL F2. As for the constructors as well, Trident Cherouz, that should be close as well. Virtuosi, we're sitting at the bottom of the table in the standings. I think that will probably change after some of those results as well. If it doesn't change with them, it'll definitely change with the teams from 3rd through 9th in that close battle. 13 points separating them. Every team's made it onto the podium now. That's a cool stat to have. Especially with a grid like this. You know, it's close at the front of the field, but at the same time, you have your usual drivers who will break away. And then you have the drivers who you know are going to, like Beatnik and all them who are fighting from 5th on back most of the race. You have the drivers who fight from 5th on back. So, that's what happens with that kind of thing. So there you have it for RPLF2. That is it. I am your commentator, RyanOcon31. If you want to catch us elsewhere later today, I shouldn't say elsewhere, but elsewhere car-wise. How about that? You have Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium. That should be a hard race for our drivers. If we want to talk about hard, that is a tricky track to navigate your way through. An amazing street circuit for environment-wise, I should say, and definitely the feeling of it being there. Racing, it's a bit more trickier to pass, maybe besides the DRS zones. But with that being said, the drivers look forward to it today to see what they can do in the championship. Chase down the Red Bulls, the Ferraris, all the guys who end up being at the front of the field. As you always know, F2 equal performance, back to realistic performance later today for F1 Tier 1. That is at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. UK time. I always try to give to the viewers who are watching from other regions, like myself, some leeway on that to kind of give you guys an idea of where that's at in regards to other countries and places in the world with time zones. You know how that goes. They are at Miami later today. That is Owen who's going to be commentating that. As for where to catch us next week for F2, God, I love this racetrack. Portugal. Portimao. That track is so much fun. These guys get to tackle that out. I feel like whatever, maybe not real life was the best with racing aspect at that kind of circuit, but Portimao seems to bring out some of the best racing and league racing that I've seen so far out of the tracks that have been added to the game. So I have to sign off now. Next week it is Portugal for round number 6 for these guys this season. And later today is the Hard Rock Stadium for Miami. Until next time, folks, have a good one and enjoy your day. Less than 3 hours from now, join us at Miami. Bye-bye.